Now, I understand when it comes to the quarterback position in the National Football League, it's the most important position on the field. It's the most important position in the game. It is the most important position in North American professional sports. Period. I understand that. And henceforth, as a result, I understand why teams are always so desperate to find one. You either have one or you don't. If you have two, you have none. Da 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 da. There's no price that's too big to pay if you feel like you can go move up even and get that guy in the draft. And we see some teams do this with varying levels of success. You'll see some teams try to get desperate via the trade market or free agency. The point being is quarterbacks matter. That's a fact. But just because there's a premium on the position, just because the market demands that you pay a certain level of player a certain amount of money at that position, doesn't automatically mean that when you get a mediocre or average guy at that position, you should be tying up 15% of your salary cap or more into that one spot. And sometimes what will happen is teams will overreact to a very small snippet, a very small window, in part because they're thinking, hey, this guy showed a flash here for a little bit. That's enough validation. Let's not run the risk of him actually playing up to that standard on a consistent basis and potentially having to pay him a little bit more money. Let's go ahead and lock him in now at what could be potentially a below market contract, but you've seen so little of him, how the hell would you know? You see this happen as well quite often. You end up seeing guys that you know aren't elite end up getting elite or damn near elite money as NFL starting quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, I could go on. Kirk Cousins, certainly. But then you get the Tennessee Titans, who are in a bit of a pickle here. Because the guy they took to be the franchise guy, Marcus Mariota, back in 2015, ended up showing he's not the dude. And the guy that they traded for before the season is kind of like a throwaway backup safety net type of deal. And Ryan Tannehill ends up coming in and helping save the season in a lot of ways. And played pretty well. And after about 4 or 5 guys don't show up to the Pro Bowl, he's a Pro Bowler this year. You know, the Titans made that deep run into the playoffs, and it was a bit of a surprise, but maybe not, based off of matchups and, you know, kind of their style of play. People thought, hey, you know, like, they could make a bit of a run here, and they certainly did. They were 1 game away from a Super Bowl. But to me, it is very important to treat each and every single season in the NFL different from the last, different from the next. You shouldn't automatically allow what just happened in the previous season to cloud your better judgment. And to me, diving into Ryan Tannehill and paying him that much money, extending him for 4 years and $118 million, putting yourself in a situation where realistically it'll be incredibly prohibitive to get out of the contract if he doesn't play well in 2020 or even 2021. You know, to me, this feels like perhaps a somewhat necessary, but not totally necessary overreaction, an overestimation, an overabundance of expectation and hope that Tannehill is going to be that level of dude. It's kind of the way I look at this deal. And you got to wonder, are the Tennessee Titans really going to regret giving Ryan Tannehill a big contract like this? And to me, the simple answer is probably. Because what this very well could do is take them out of the quarterback market in the draft in 2020, take them out potentially of the quarterback market in the draft in 2021. And you're talking about in a league like the NFL where the vast majority of teams that are true contenders, sure, you have the exceptions to the rule, I understand that, but by and large, the majority of the playoff teams year in and year out get there with a quarterback that they drafted and developed themselves. It's that simple. The majority of the true championship contending teams, the Super Bowl contending teams, the Super Bowl appearing teams, the Super Bowl winning teams, get there with their own quarterback that they draft and develop and build around. yes, you certainly can make the Super Bowl with somebody else's draft pick at quarterback. But history, recent history especially, is not as much on your side as it may have once been, especially with the importance of the quarterback position. And when you talk about the Titans and you talk about, what they did in 2019 and especially in the playoffs, like, we got to have a little truth talk here. How important was Ryan Tannehill really in the grand scheme of things? When you look at the playoffs and the 2 games that they won, they were impressive. But it was because Derrick Henry was impressive. The Titans' offensive line had some impressive play. Derrick Henry, again, I'm going to emphasize, was really damn impressive and had a 2-game stretch there that was otherworldly. And then that Titans defense D'd up and played some really damn good defense, first against the Patriots on the road and then against the Ravens in Baltimore. Look at those 2 wins. Ryan Tannehill made a couple of nice throws, yes, but he wasn't counted on to do much. Once you got to the AFC Championship game, once you got there and the Chiefs started getting rolling and they shut down Derrick Henry at least a little bit, now more of the pressure's on Ryan Tannehill, and he wasn't going to get the job done, and he didn't get the job done. And I understand, like, the team responded to him. They rallied behind him, and you feel like it's risky to let him walk out, and you certainly weren't going to bring Mariota back with that, which I understand. And you feel like if you didn't retain Tannehill and you didn't, like, a lot of different things could have happened, and it could have went sideways really quickly. But now you're trading away Jarrell Casey. You franchise Derrick Henry. You could argue whether or not that should have even been done. Then you sitting there, you let Jack Conklin go to the Cleveland Browns. And I just wonder, like, you've made the decision to go in like this with Tannehill. Was he really worth it? Was he worth having to trade away Jarrell Casey? Was he worth having to lose Jack Conklin via free agency? Was it worth tying up to 10, 15% of your salary cap the next couple of years into a guy who is not that level of dude? Look, I liked Ryan Tannehill coming out of Texas A&M back in 2012. I did. And I've always wanted him to be better than what he actually is. At best, he's a game manager. Now we've gotten to the point in the NFL that we're paying $30+ million a damn season to game managers. This is nuts. Now maybe you think this will be good enough. But then when you quickly realize that, hey, you're going into 2020, the Texans have a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I certainly would hope that would be an established fact. Based off of pedigree history, I would still say that Phillip Rivers for the Colts is a better quarterback than the Titans have in Ryan Tannehill. Who knows what becomes of Minshew or what else the Jaguars might do at the quarterback position. The Titans at best are going to have the 3rd best quarterback, maybe even the 4th best quarterback in 2020. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't get down with this deal, man. It just feels like you were overpaying because you kind of got put into a box based off of the way the team rallied around Tannehill. You played the second half of the year, the way you played in the playoffs. And now you're allowing that to cloud your decision-making and your better judgment. And that is the type of decision, the type of thought process that can negatively impact an organization for years to come. And maybe they felt like they had no other choice. And maybe, honestly, they didn't have any other choice. But I just can't see how this is going to end well for the Tennessee Titans. Tell me how I'm wrong, but I just don't see it.